All right, good afternoon, everyone. Futures Brizio here, just after 5 p.m. on Friday, March 28th. Hope everybody had a great week. And something a little bit different here. As everybody probably knows, journaling is a really important thing to do when you trade. And I think no matter how long you've been trading, you should do some level of journaling. I know some people go really crazy with it. Um, my own shortcoming of I have found it difficult to consistently journal in terms of writing stuff down and writing down my analysis and outcomes, taking screenshots and doing all that kind of stuff. So rather than doing that, and I actually stole this idea from another trader, is to kind of instead of doing it that way, to actually record my live trading or my analysis to myself. Now, it's similar to what I do on my regular videos I post on here, but they're a little shorter, a little bit more just, again, kind of talking to myself. And I basically record these. They're pretty short. This one's just over 7 minutes long. And I just started doing this several days ago. I try to do one morning, afternoon, and end of day, not only as an analysis, but if I took a trade, why I took it, where I took it, did I get stopped out, why, did I close it, why, did I take profit, all that stuff, and just to review. And then so that hopefully I build some kind of unconscious confidence and competence. Obviously you can see, I can see where I made mistakes. And having that visual, I'm a very visual learner, so I'd like to see it this way through video rather than just writing something down. To me, that doesn't have a lot of substance. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should do whatever works for you. But as long as you're doing some kind of journaling. And so what I thought I would do on this video is really with little to no commentary. I'm going to just play the two videos that I made at around lunchtime today and then about an hour ago at the end of the day here, just to see, this is kind of my thought process as I go back and look. And you can see I had when talking about copper, I've taken some big hits on copper the last couple of days, especially, today and yesterday. And so it's just something I have to work out. And the other thing with this is it also starts to show to me that I need to continue to hone down my focus on the assets that I'm trading. Now, I do trade some Forex, some futures, as you know. I've greatly cut back on my Forex. I'm basically down to trading just 2 or 3 pairs, where I used to have, 8, 10. Years ago, I used to have 20. But that's all I traded. And that was too much, obviously. And so now with futures, I'm trying to also hone that back too, and I'm still not sure how much I'm going to cut that back. I may reduce it down to maybe 2 markets. The issue that I have with, and just to say this candidly, and anybody who's been trading for long enough knows this, the issue I have with doing that is that all markets at some point enter into consolidation phases, sometimes for an extended period of time. I mean, you could have a consolidation phase on a 4-hour or a daily chart that goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks and months. And so you can't, if you're trading on those higher time frames and you like to trend trade, which is how I trade, you might not get any trades. And it's like, well, you don't have to be in the market, but at the same time, you're not going to sit there and look at a market that's consolidating and end up forcing trades. So that's been my justification for having multiple assets that I follow, so that even if something is consolidating, like right now we've got the German 40 consolidating, the DAX index, and so I'm not doing anything with that right now. So I'm just looking at copper and oil right now, and I had natural gas. I put that one aside right now. I could bring it back, especially in light of the fact that the DAX is not doing anything. But anyway, so this also helps me because, again, I'm kind of talking to myself. And it's a little bit of weird, listening to yourself on video. And obviously when I say we in these videos, I'm talking about the market, not me and other people in the room. I'm talking about the market. But I just kind of go through my own analysis. And so this is the way I'm going to kind of journal. And I created a folder on my computer that I just dump all these things into. And then I will start, going back and listening to them the next day or after the market closes, go back and watch the ones I recorded for that day and see how things played out, like from the morning to the end of the day, and then, you know, going into the next day as well, or the next week if it's on the weekend. So like I said, I'm just going to play both of these without really any interruption, probably no interruption, just let them play out. And then I'll come back before I head out and for a couple of comments. So let me know what you think. It just again, if you're following the channel, make sure you comment down below, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the video. Really appreciate it. And that's it. So I'm going to turn the microphone down here. So I got a fan running in the background. You might be able to hear. I don't want that to disturb us. I'm going to turn that down. And then we'll come on back to this, you know, when we're done after. Okay? So here we go. This is the first one from midday or so. Daily update here for trades and analysis for Friday, March 28th. So on the dollar yen daily chart, you can see we had this structure area here, put in this low, prices retraced all the way back up to it, seems to be rejecting off of it, and you can see looking to the left that this area has been an important area of support or resistance, other than back here where it blew right through it. And actually it does seem when it goes through it from the bearish side. So I am in a short from here, and we'll see what happens. From a 4-hour level, we do still have to look at this area right here as structure on the shorter time frame, that if price holds this area, that it may turn and go higher. But any breach below this zone would certainly trigger a bigger move down. Okay, so I'm going to hold this for now. I may close it before the end of the day, or if it gets down to these lows, I may just close it out manually, and then we'll see what happens next week. Euro yen honestly is a real mess right now. On the daily chart, we have a lot of sideways price action ranges we've been in here. So I did have one trade on this, which I closed, I think, for a small loss. So I'm just not really too interested in this, just based on the way this looks right now. We do still have a structure area on the daily chart sitting basically right here. Okay, that led to this new high. Price does seem to have failed from, you know, off this next pullback. Went up, made this high, came back down. Now it's just been chopping, very overlapping, and it does seem like perhaps it wants to come down, but it's really unclear right now, and so I'm just going to stay away from this one for now. And then on the euro, so the euro, obviously we had this really big run up on the daily chart, and then price has pulled back here. Now I would have liked to have seen this pull back further, because after such a big run up, you would think this would have a deeper pullback to try to reset some of this liquidity. But we did get this on the 4-hour chart. We did get a higher low put in right here. And we do seem to want to go up. I wasn't along. I just closed it right about where price is right now. So I took a small profit on this. Probably should just left it, but like I said, my only concern here is that this pullback, I would have loved to have seen this come down more. I was expecting to see, you know, price retrace. I mean, we got right to the 38.2, which in a strong uptrend is not a bad retracement level. If it's a very, very strong uptrend, a lot of times it won't get much further deep than the 38.2 or even the 23. So it is possible that this will just go back up from here. So we'll keep an eye on it. If it's going to do that, you know, then perhaps next week we see a little pullback and then go higher again. All right, over to futures. oil. I was in an oil short, which I just got out of. You can see on the 8-hour chart, we had this structure area at this top red line. Okay, that price went down, made a new low. We came all the way back to it. Okay, and then rejected off there. It does seem that, you know, it put in these equal lows. It's actually slightly lower. This high, equal highs. We had this high from that run back up, and then we had this kind of equal high right here, maybe slightly lower, that it came off of. On the 4-hour chart, we've got this little kind of structure area right here. You can see prices getting held up at this area. So if we can get through this area right here, if we can get through this structure area right here, about where this lower red line is, then I think we'll definitely go lower than this, and that would be in line with a potential turn back to the downside on this longer time frame. But like I said, this lower red line is kind of the area to look at here. That this level needs to break. Otherwise, this could just turn and just pop right back up again. We do have another area sitting up here, which actually might be, let me just put a regular line on there. This area up here might actually be the true liquidity area, because these are like equal highs, which can be like a retail trap area. So we get this to pull down here and then pop and then go right through and then turn at these levels. So let's see what happens if price gets down to here. If we clear this area to the downside, then it will turn out that this is the level and price will go down. But if this holds and we start to get bullish price action again, then back up to this area here would probably be a good initial target. And then if it keeps going, then of course we've got these areas up here. Okay, but one thing at a time. Let's see what it does from this level. Copper, again, this is the 8-hour chart. You can see we had a deep pullback back to this level down here that led to this high. Price does appear to be bouncing off of there. Perhaps we're going to continue to go higher here. It has reacted off that level. Basically, the way since I'm not in this right now, if we get a break above this high right here after this pullback, if this bear candle here on the hourly chart is just a pullback and this goes higher, takes out this swing, then I probably will go long. I mean, probably could do it now, but that's what I'm looking at, a resumption of the uptrend on the higher time frame off this 8-hour chart. And you can also see it on the 4-hour, and then like I said, on the 1-hour, we're just looking for some confirmation. And then DAX, I'm not doing anything. This is a complete mess. It's just been stuck inside this range for over a month now. And so I'm just have no interest in trading. You can see the moving average is cutting right through the price, which just definitely indicates sideways action. This is the 4-hour chart. It's not even a real high time frame, and it's showing really nothing. So not doing anything with DAX, but that's it. All right, guys. So that's the first one. Hopefully you can hear that. I know the volume wasn't particularly low on the playback. I turned it up as much as I could. So, but you can just kind of see my thought process. Let me just play the second one here from the end of the day, and then I'll come back for a quick closeout. Okay, so this is my Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock on March 28th. So just do another quick review here for myself. So copper, I've taken like several losses on copper the last couple of days. I really question whether I'm going to keep following this asset, because it is, even though this is the micro contract, it's fairly expensive to take losses on this asset. And so, I just think that I'm undecided. But anyways, you can see that I'm in the short. So let's just do a quick review.
So if we go out to a higher time frame, here's the 8 hour. We do have this. There's this zone right here, this pullback low that led to this high. Now we've been coming down since then. Now I took a long earlier. Actually, I'm going to throw this on there. You can see I've made multiple attempts here. I had a loss yesterday here. I don't know if this is working. I had another loss here, and then I had one, two, three more losses. I think these are all today. Yeah, I think these are all today. This is 1 hour chart. So it's not been going good on this asset at all. Now there's small losses, but they do add up. So looking on the 8 hour chart, let's try this again. We've got this pullback low that led to this high, and then we had structure coming down. Now, I took one of the losses I took was off of this level when price started to bounce again right here. I took this long, thinking that this was a bounce off this zone right here, and that we're going to go higher. But that failed. It went up. You can see it popped through the moving average, and then it stopped. And now we've got a much larger engulfing candle, bear candle, maybe not engulfing, but a bear candle to the downside. This is the 4 hour. So, and I have even told myself this before, is that if you look at these, we've got multiple lows sitting right here. We've got one, two, three. We've got multiple touches on about this level where this line is, which tends to be a retail level where buyers will step in thinking this is the end of the downtrend. It's going to start going back up. And it's really just a manipulation zone. It bounces and then turns down again. And that the actual zone to target if it's going to go up again is actually down here at this low that's sitting just beneath it right here. So that's what I'm going on now. You can see I'm in a short. I'm going to hold this through the weekend. I might regret it, but I only took one contract. So if I do get knocked out of this, it'll be a small loss. And we'll see. You can see my take profit is sitting inside of this zone back near these lows. And we'll see if we can get down there and, trip that one, and then we'll see what happens. And if it breaks below this box, then we're probably going to go a lot lower, start a new downtrend, whatever. But we'll see if we get a manipulation, liquidity sweep through here, and then price starts going back up and continues the uptrend, or like I said, we break through here and we get some kind of move back to the downside. All right, so that's that. Kind of frustrating. Oil, as I said earlier, I did close this position at this low. Again, just stepping out a little bit. We have this zone basically in here that supported this move down. And then we pushed all the way back up to this zone, which again, we're back to this question about potential equal highs. And this is obviously a manipulation area. You can look to the left and see all the touches on this first line. So it came down and it tagged the zone on this smaller time frame on this zone right here that led to this high. So that's where I got out of the trade. This is the 3 hour chart. You can certainly go down and see it on this 1 hour chart here. So the question is now is do we bounce from here and go up and again break through this retail zone and actually retest this zone further up, whether it be this one, or maybe even this one up here, okay? Or if we break through this low, then maybe we continue down, okay? But we would have to break through this low right here, okay? We'd have to break through this low right here and then go down, okay? So we'll see what happens with that. So right now, obviously, it's not going to happen anything today. The market's pretty much closed now. So we'll see if we get some bullish price action heading back up, then I might consider entering long again with a take profit back up at these highs as a minimum. And potentially if we break through there, then the next area would be, sitting way up here um, at these levels up here. Okay. So that's that. And again, on the DAX, did nothing. It's heading back down towards these lows. Not really anything to do with that. All right, so on to Forex. So I did re-enter the long on the euro dollar. I mentioned on my video that I made earlier about this that I was in a long and I exited it. Exited it. So I did re-enter. So we'll see what happens. Again, my concern with this on the daily chart was after such a big impulsive move up that we only retraced a little bit. This is the 38.2 retracement at this low when you put a fib on here. Now, again, as I mentioned, uh, after a really strong, if the market is truly bullish and you get a super impulsive move like this, you may only get a shallow pullback because there's so much bullish momentum. The sellers may not really be able to sustain for too long. You may not get that 50% or 61.8 or more pullback here. And so I'm going on that assumption and also looking at the fact that on the 4-hour chart, we did put in this higher low right here. The price came up, looked like it wanted to go down, make a new low, but it failed. It put in a higher low and then broke this level right here, and looks like it wants to push higher. So that's the reason why I re-entered it. Um, Again, it's a little bit tricky because of the volume of this up move is so parabolic that I did think we would see some lower prices to kind of fill in some of this imbalance on the way back down, but maybe we will and maybe we won't. If there's really a lot of buying momentum in there, it might not go back down. It might just continue up from where it is. It did hit a fib. It's at the 38.2 again at this low. All right, euro yen. Again, it's really just kind of ranging in here. We had this low, put in this high on the daily chart. We did kind of sloppily move back up, and we seem like we have put in, here's the 4-hour chart. I don't know. I mean, you could put a pretty obvious trend line on this. So I don't know if this trend line is going to hold. Um, I just don't know. So this is a little bit dicey right now. Do we just come down here and retag the trend line here and then bounce again? I'm not sure. We could potentially just come down, like I said, hit this trend line and bounce up again. Um, if we do ultimately break lower, then and this puts in a lower high and turns down, then an initial target would be back at this low. And then again, we get back again to potential other areas. So if that low breaks, then our next zone of liquidity is down here. Okay. So we're either looking at this area, but I don't know. I mean, we put in a high, here's the hourly chart. We put in a higher low, right, a lower high right here heading down. But then again, we did that over here too, right? We put in a, higher, lower high, price came down, tried to go low, hit the trend line and bounced and went up and made a new high. So, is that what this is right here? That this is just part of this correction down? We'll bounce off this trend line, go up? I don't know. I'd probably want to see it, definitively break through this trend line with strong momentum on at least an hourly chart, or really conservative would be to see it take out this low down here. That wouldn't give it a heck of a lot of room down to this level, but it's still 100 pips. So either a definitive break below this trend line or a break below this low to confirm, and with an initial target back here at this level. Okay, and then if it gets through there, then we have this deeper zone back here. All right, and finally on dollar yen. So again, on dollar yen, we had on the daily chart this swing area here, came down, put in this low, price came all the way back up to it, right to it, and then put in this new high and then failed. And now it's right back to this zone right here. It's sitting right at this low. So if this area fails from about where it is now, then I would expect prices to continue down back towards the daily lows down here somewhere at minimum. All right. And so I think that is a good area to look at. So we got that. If we jump over and look at my trades here on my funded account, you can see I am currently in this euro long and I am in the dollar yen short. Okay, so I do have these positions sitting here on both, and we'll see. I mean, there is a chance on dollar yen that it'll come back to this zone and will bounce and break higher. Again, retail equal highs up here. But the fact that this did react from a clear daily level, and we don't have really a bunch of equal highs sitting here. We have this one swing right here that went down, price revisited, and this is pretty bearish, honestly, to come down here. And this is a zone, so I don't know if I'm going to hold this through the weekend. I mean, I got about a half hour left to decide. I'll just close this in case it does bounce and goes higher when the market opens next week. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I want to hold it because, again, on the daily chart, I do think that we could very well just turn and go lower from here. But, then again, every time we pull back here on these Olo swings like here, it's not like we retraced the whole distance. I mean, here we've retraced the whole distance back up to here. So I don't know. So we'll see. Might be a good experiment to see what happens with this. We are still going down, heading into the close here. And so I may just close this out, wait and see what happens next week. And if we take out this low here, then there'll always be a chance to re-enter the position on a pullback on the way down. Again, just to go back and retarget these lows down here at minimum.
All right, guys. So you kind of get the point there, and I think I'm just going to leave it there. But this is kind of the way I'm kind of doing these my own analysis in terms of my journaling. I go back and look at these, just kind of a substitution for writing things down, and which I still do a little bit. But I can go back and look at these and then review them once the market moves and does what it's going to do. It's almost like a way to check myself to see if my analysis was right. And like I said, if it was, it helps just build a little confidence the next time you see a similar setup. And if I'm wrong, for me to adjust accordingly. I mean, you're not going to be right every time, but just to kind of adjust accordingly. So I just thought I would share that with you to let you know what I'm doing. And also it kind of acts as my market wrap type video that I do anyways on the day. And so I just wanted to, I figured it accomplishes both purposes. Just the version I make for myself is usually more short and sweet than the longer version recordings that I do when I'm doing the analysis for the channel, where I try to cover a little bit more detail. But for myself, I just kind of give myself the highlights, and I know what I'm trying to say to myself. So anyways, guys, so I'll leave it there. And just so you know, I did close that dollar yen trade that I just talked about in the last minute or two of this video. I did close it at those lows for the weekend because it was sitting at that 4 hours key level. It probably will bounce off of there. It's just a matter of whether that holds and keeps going higher above the resistance zone you see on this chart, or whether we break lower. So, but I did close that trade that I mentioned here in this video. So it was a pretty good trade. It was very impulsive to the downside. And if it breaks through that 4 hour support, then I'll look to continue it with another short next week. All right, guys, so I will leave it there. Questions, comments, leave them down below. Smash the like channel, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to everybody soon. Have a fantastic weekend.